Hi, I'm David Crone, and this is my introduction to HorseRacingIsCool.com, which is basically my video blog to tell the world about the sport I love, horse racing, and why I think it is so cool. So, who am I? I'm David Crone. I'm a graduate of the University of Louisville with a degree in communications. That has nothing to do with my horse racing background. I just thought I'd share that because I went for 5.5 years to get that degree. So I think I need to brag about it at the 1 or 2 opportunities I get a chance to do that. I have been involved in horse racing most of my life, either as a fan or working within the industry. I grew up loving it. I grew up betting on horses. When I was in 6th and 7th grade, I was reading books about betting thoroughbreds, while everyone else was reading 1984 or Animal Farm or whatever you read when you're in 7th grade. I started my education then as a way to try to make a couple $100s to buy Super Nintendo games, and that addiction just kind of carried through the rest of my life. I don't look at that addiction as a bad thing. I think addictions can be good or can be bad, and I think this is a positive one in my life. It took me to thoroughbred farms in Lexington, where I worked with some of the top people in the thoroughbred industry in both research and at various sales. I've worked in marketing and guest services for one of the top racetracks in America as well. And I've also qualified for the National Handicapping Championships 3 times, winning a number of smaller handicapping tournaments and finishing very highly in other ones. I don't think you'll find many other people my age that have the resume I have in all facets of thoroughbred racing. I don't think you'll find many people, period, that have as much knowledge in as many different areas as I have. I know a lot about breeding. I know a lot about racing. I know almost everything there is to know about betting on horses. And I want to bring all of that together in this site. I want to use all of that information I possess to explain to you why horse racing is a sport that you should be interested in. And that gets me to my next point, HorseRacingIsCool.com. Where did that name come from? What does it mean? On the surface, it might sound a little lame, I think, and it is a little lame probably, but I'm a little lame, so why run from what I am? Horse racing is a sport that I think gets a bad rap, not only from outsiders, but from insiders as well. I don't think you'll find many industries where the people in charge and the people in charge of marketing and advertising hate the industry that they're in so much. You don't see people in baseball trying to sell just peanuts and beer. You don't see football selling just tailgating. Football sells football. You know, if you turn on TV, if you turn on ESPN on a Saturday or a Sunday morning, there's 100 different shows explaining every nuance of every football player's life. I mean, if a guy has, you know, a twisted ankle, it can be dwelt upon for an entire week. And that kind of stuff just doesn't happen in horse racing. In horse racing, if you look at the marketing, if you look at the media, the way horse racing is marketed is not as a sport. It's marketed as, come out and we'll give you cheap beer, or come out and we will, you know, give you a free hat. A hat that's probably worth about $1, that's shoddily made, that nobody ever wears other than a few degenerates at the racetrack. But these hats are what they advertise. They don't advertise the fact that they have, you know, in a major race, maybe $10 million worth of horse flesh on the racetrack. They don't discuss that. They don't discuss how fascinating the sales world is. They don't discuss how fascinating all of the racing and breeding aspects are. Instead, they discuss a hat that costs $1 to make. To me, that doesn't make sense. I don't know, maybe it does to you, but it doesn't make sense to me. There's a product to market here. Horse racing is something that can be cool. There's a reason why 100,000 people are at the racetrack every weekend in Japan and Hong Kong. There's a reason why people in England and Australia get so excited over major races. And it's not just about dressing up in a pretty dress and wearing a hat. It's because people actually care about this sport around the world. People have cared about this sport for centuries in America as well. You don't have to go back that far to get to Secretariat, who the entire nation was following. The same way with Ruffian, who had an unfortunate end, but captured the heart of America before doing so. I think there's a lot of misnomers around the sport of horse racing, and I think there's a lot of people who are turned off for reasons that they shouldn't be turned off. I think there's a lot that would fascinate a lot of people, and that's what I want to discuss. I want to discuss some of these things. I want to discuss the sales world. I want to discuss the breeding world. I want to discuss racing. I want to discuss betting. I want to discuss some of the theories I have behind all of that you're not going to really find anywhere else. There are a lot of theories that have come from my experiences, which are so varied and so different than most people's, that I don't think you're going to hear most of my kind of thoughts from other people. So I want you to listen to why I think horse racing is cool, and I hope that some of you will agree with some of those reasons. And I hope that you might find that you are more interested in this sport than you thought you would have been. So that's kind of my pitch on what I'm trying to do here. The rest of these things won't be just begging you to do things. The rest of them will obviously have different topics and all those things that I discussed earlier. So I hope that at least piques your interest and curiosity a little bit. I want to hear from everybody. I want to discuss everything that anyone wants to discuss. If you have any questions from the basic through the ultra advanced, I want to hear them, and I want to discuss all of that. So I hope that helps you understand what this site is and who I am, and I will see you soon. Thanks.